As always, please retry this question before watching the video. There are three things you need to know to be able to answer this question. If you don't know the answers, please add them to your cheat sheet, master them, and go back 5 before continuing in the video. First thing, what are the three things that can be wrong with clause question? Punctuation in the middle of a clause, no independent clause in a sentence, clauses separated improperly. Remember, you need to get those down. We are giving you gold. When you simplify your thinking down to those three things, you'll see you can eliminate so many wrong answers so quickly. Okay. Do names need commas around them on the ACT? The answer is almost never. Almost never. And so you'd be wise if you see a name to caution on the side of not needing commas around it. What is the big clue that you need commas around a name? So there are scenarios, probably about 10% of the time, it is that small, where on the ACT you do need commas around the name. And that is if they have an article in front of the noun preceding the name. So in this case, the flamenco dancer. If it said the main flamenco dancer, then we know which flamenco dancer we're talking about in the general sense of that noun can stand alone as the subject. But if it just says flamenco dancer, we don't know what flamenco dancer we're talking about, and therefore we need the name so we know, and then that whole noun can then stand alone as the subject. So if you see that article in front of the noun, in front of the name, almost certainly you are not going to need, or you're going to need commas around the name, because the name is then non-essential for the clause to be an independent clause. Otherwise, which will be the vast majority case, you should not have commas around the name. With those in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at number 11. All right, answer A. There's not punctuation in the middle of a clause. There is an independent clause in a sentence, and there aren't multiple clauses, so we don't need to worry about clauses separated improperly. Answer B. We have a name, and there's not an article in front of the name, or in front of the noun in front of the name, and therefore this name is essential to understanding which flamenco dancer we're talking about, to have a complete subject that makes sense, and therefore this is going to be wrong because that is punctuation in the middle of a clause where it should not be. Answer C is also punctuation in the middle of a clause. Answer D is also punctuation in the middle of a clause. And therefore, we're just left with answer A, which is the correct answer. If this made sense to you, please add it to your worksheet, write what you learned along with the answer. And then we will continue on to the remaining clause 1 questions that you missed on this test. If this is the final clause 1 question that you missed on this test, please go ahead and do the mastery until you get 10 questions correct in a row. Also, if you're just wanting to practice more of these name questions, which are super easy now that you know the tip, you can reach out to your coach and they can probably give you a list of name-specific questions that you could go ahead and drill to see the variations and when you would need to have that clause.